Hi folks, I'm the Reverend Danny Crosby, a Unitarian minister in Altrincham and Urmston in the northwest of England. I do hope you're finding the love and some of the blessings in life in these difficult times. It is hard, my friends, but we are all in this together. I'm offering these short devotions as just a little bit of hope in these difficult times, just something I can offer as a balm for the heart, the mind, the spirit and the soul. Today's devotion will explore the critic. Do we come to see a man fall or to see him fly? So I invite us just to still ourselves. Let's invite a loving presence to be here amongst us and to awaken from deep within us. I have lit the chalice flame, the symbol of our free religious faith. I've lit the flame of love in the cup of belonging, acceptance, and love. Know that you are welcome. Know that you are welcome as you are, warts and all, and the beauty spots too. You are welcome to come as you are, exactly as you are this moment. You are welcome to come and be who you are. May you know love, and may it inspire you to be all that you can be. May it inspire you to bring your gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity, to the altar of life. May it invite you to come as you are, exactly as you are in this moment, but not to leave any moment in exactly the same condition. Be open to what life offers to you. Amen. I'm going to begin this devotion with a classic story from the fables of Aesop. It's the man, his son, and their donkey. So a man and his son were once going with their donkey to market. But as they were walking along by the side of a road, a man passed by and said, "Ha, you fools! What is a donkey for but to ride upon?" So the man put his boy on the donkey, and they went on their way. They soon passed a group of other men, one of whom shouted out, "See that lazy lad! He lets his father walk while he rides." So the man ordered the boy off the donkey, and he got on himself. But they hadn't gone far when they passed two women, one of whom said to the other, "Shame on that lazy lout to let his poor son trudge along beside him while he rides on the donkey." Well, the man didn't know what to do, so he decided to let the boy up and sit on the donkey with him. By this time they'd come to the town, and the passers-by began to cheer and point at them and mock. The man stopped and asked them what they were scoffing at, to which some of the men in the crowd said, "Well, aren't you ashamed of yourselves to overload that poor donkey of yours, you and your great big hulking son?" So they both got off the donkey, and they tried to think what they ought to do. How do they solve this situation? Whatever they do, they seem to get criticised for. So they thought, and at last they came up with a plan. They cut down a pole, tied the donkey's feet to it, and raised the pole and the donkey upon their shoulders. They went along amid the laughter of all who met them on the way, the cheering crowds mocking them, till they came to the bridge, when suddenly one of the donkey's feet came loose. It kicked out, and it caused the boy to drop his end of the pole. In the struggle, the donkey fell over the bridge, and because his 4 feet were tied together, he could not swim, and the poor animal drowned. So what's the moral of the story? Well, according to Aesop, it's, if you try to please everyone, you will please no one. So everybody's a critic these days. Do they come to see a man fall or to see him fly? I've got a couple of friends who I have named at times Statler and Waldorf. To some degree it's done in jest, but there is a serious point behind the humour. A few months ago I grew a little wearisome of their constant criticism of things and of other people. So I gave them the names partly in jest and partly in criticism of their constant criticism. Do you remember Statler and Waldorf from Jim Henson's The Muppet Show? The pair didn't really participate in the show. Instead, they just sat on the balcony heckling the rest of the characters who were trying to create the show themselves. They are the archetypes for we who sit back, pour scorn and criticise the efforts of others to do the best that they can. It's so easy to do this, is it not? It is so easy to just sit back and criticise the best efforts of others, or do nothing ourselves, doing absolutely nothing. The critic never enters the arena. Increasingly we seem intent on fault finding and discovering the imperfections in each other. Why do we do this? Do we believe it will help us feel better about ourselves if we pour scorn on the imperfections of others? Maybe, maybe not. There's a wonderful song titled Knievel on the New Model Army album, Between Dog and Wolf. It is inspired by the life of Evel Knievel, that famous stunt motorbike rider from the 1970s. There's a line in the song that is repeated over and over again. The line is, "Do they come to see a man fall, or to see him fly?" It's asking if the people come to see him achieve his feats, or do they actually come to see him fall from the heavens? The thing about Knievel is that he was just as likely to fail as he was to succeed. But he always took off. That's the difference. He entered the arena. Now, the song is not just a commentary on this crazy, complex, talented, but apparently not a very likeable individual. It's also a commentary on the world in which we live, a world in which we build people up to hero status, only to take pot shots at them for their all too human imperfections. I often wonder if when we are shooting others down, what we are really doing is attempting to deflect from our own imperfections. You know, the critic is someone who stands at the side, taking pot shots at the people who have the courage to stand above the parapet and give something a go, to take off, to try and fly. In The Heart of the Enlightened, Anthony de Mello tells the following story. A woman complained to a visiting friend that her neighbour was a poor housekeeper. "You should see how dirty her children are, and her house, it's almost a disgrace to be living in the same neighbourhood as her. Take a look at these clothes she has hung out on the line. See the black streaks on the sheets and the towels." The friend looked for a while, and then she walked over to the window and said, "Well, actually, I think the clothes are quite clean, my dear. The streaks are on your window." Now, this story brings to mind words from Matthew's Gospel, chapter 7, verses 1 to 12. "Why do you see the speck in your neighbour's eye, but do not notice the log in your own eye?" It is easy to pass judgment and to find fault in others. But is that what our task is? To tear apart everyone else and to point out where they are going wrong? Or is it to make the most of who we are, not only for ourselves, but for the good of all? Is it our task to be the critic who picks apart what others do? Or is it to contribute to life in whatever ways we can? I, for one, no longer wish to choose the path of lazy cynicism and criticism. I'd much rather do what I can and risk getting shot down. get things wrong all the time. But this requires courage. This requires living with an open heart. Did you know that courage originally meant just this? It is etymologically linked to the Latin root word cor. Courage meant to speak one's mind by telling all your heart. Now these days this seems to have negative connotations. To speak one's mind often means to speak critically, but that wasn't the case in ancient times. To speak one's mind by telling all your heart meant to speak from love. It meant to speak the language of the heart. It meant to speak the language of divine love. I think we can return to this, that this can come again. We can live with real courage again. All we need to do is to live in the world with an open heart. All we need to do is give all that we are to life. We don't need to put another down in order to feel a little better about ourselves and to deflect from our own inadequacies. Instead, we can see the world through loving eyes and encourage both ourselves and one another to be the best that we can be, and therefore create the best of this, our shared world. So what are you going to be today? Are you going to be the critic who stands on the sidelines pointing out the imperfections in others? Or are you going to be all that you can be in life, give all that you have to give, and encourage others to do the same? Do they come to see a man fall or to see him fly? Now, I'd like to share with you some wisdom from Stephanie Dowrick. It's a kind of spiritual practice titled Cure for All Critics. It's taken from Choosing Happiness, Life and Soul Essentials. Stephanie writes, criticism can be helpful, even inspiring, but never when it descends into chronic whine or becomes a way of life. If there is someone in your life that you feel especially free, or worse, obliged to criticise, try this. Every day for an entire month, find at least one specific thing that you will speak about positively and directly to that person. Explicitly encourage, express gratitude, or praise them. Take an interest in their interests. You don't need to take on their interests or share them, but offer your curiosity and willingness to listen as a mark of respect for who they are and what concerns them. Keep finding fresh, new things to comment upon positively, as well as what you praised yesterday or the day before. If you hear yourself begin to criticise, stop. Leave the room. Only by behaving less critically will your habits of criticism begin to change. Now, if you feel silly or self-conscious, regard this as a tiny private act of reparation. You are doing this primarily to express your respect and affection for that other person and, only incidentally, to grow in self-respect. You are not doing it for praise, and you won't stop doing it if you don't get enough praise. Enjoy the benefits as the people around you respond, relax, rejoice. So I invite us now just to join together in a time of prayer. Let us pray. God of love, divine spirit of compassion, help us to know your loving presence. Let it awaken within us. Help us to attune ourselves to the great mysteries of creation, to the wonder of the moment, Awaken our senses to life itself, to what is both beautiful and holy. Help us to experience your Spirit as it flows through all of life, that is present in our hearts and our souls, and in those of our brothers and our sisters. In this time of physical separation, help us not to erect permanent barriers that will keep us apart. Encourage us to nurture bonds of the heart, of the mind, of the spirit, and of the soul. Intermingle our roots, even while our branches have to be separate. May we be connected. And help us not to deny our weaknesses or to become enslaved by the fear of imperfection. Bring us into harmony, O God. Show us how to be all that we were born to be. Deliver us from impatience, intolerance, and most of all from hate. Bring us to that place of compassionate, self-giving, and self-liberating love. Show us the way, O God. Show us the way. I'm going to end this little reflection with some final words of blessing. You know, we don't bless enough. We ought to, all of us, bless more. Everyone can bless. We can bless with our loving presence. So why not try offering blessings throughout the next day? So let's still ourselves one final time. Go now in peace. Go now in peace. Filled with the love you have known in our time together. Overflowing with the spirit of love. Love for ourselves. Love for one another. Love for life. Love for God. Look at the world with loving eyes. And let those loving eyes look back at you. Truly look at the world with a smile stretching across your eyes. Do not look at the world through tired, hard eyes. Look instead through compassionate, loving eyes. Open your heart to the world and always live as if the realm of love had already begun. And may the blessings of love go with us all, in all that we feel, in all that we think, in all that we say, in all that we do. See only love. Amen. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of God surround you everywhere.